5 years ago, I quit my corporate job. Today, I built a business that makes more in a month than what I used to make in a year. And the best part is that the business now nearly runs without me. The goal of this episode is to lay out exactly how I did this so that you can start building towards a future that most people dream about. Let's get into it. Guys, real quick, if you would consider purchasing a Real Power hat, it would mean the world to me. 100% of the proceeds from the sales of the hats go towards our family's foundation, the Tyler Putnam Foundation. My wife lost her brother, Tyler, at a very young age to bacterial meningitis, and the foundation exists to spread awareness for that. So if you have gotten any value from all the free content that I've put out, my only ask is that you go pick up yourself a hat. The link is in the description of this video if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast version, it will be in the show notes. Thank you guys so much and enjoy this episode. This is what I call the 3 levels to freedom. And here's just a 30,000 foot view of my journey, starting my business back in 2020 as a solopreneur and being able to scale it to a full team, a beautiful studio office space, and much, much more growth ahead of us. So I view business as a game with 3 different levels that you can play on. In like a video game, each level requires a new set of skills to progress to the next level. So level 1 is what I call solopreneur. This is where almost all of us start, right? You are the business is you. You're a one-man band. You wear all the hats. You're doing the marketing and sales to get the clients. You're running the operations to fulfill for those clients. You're providing the customer service and fixing all those clients' problems. You're managing all the finances and keeping the business profitable. And you're trying to plan for the future, setting goals and figuring out how to grow. The next level is what I call operator. So this is when you've built a team that helps you run each of the different parts of your business. And this is what we call leverage. You've started the process of buying back your time so that you can focus on the most important tasks that move the business forward. You've created systems and standard operating procedures, SOPs, so that every action in the business has a documented process to it. You've learned how to hire great people who fit the culture you're trying to build. You've learned the art of delegation and how to use those SOPs to train others on the things that you used to do. You've honed your management skills so that expectations are set and your team operates like a well-oiled machine. And you're learning how to become a great leader and paving the path for your team to follow. And then finally, level 3 is what I call owner. And this is really where the magic happens. This is where you've successfully replaced yourself as the operator of the business and hired someone to run the ship, allowing you to scale yourself out of the daily operations. You now work just a couple of hours a week to ensure the business continues moving in the right direction, supporting your leadership team to continue bringing the vision to life. And this is my definition of financial freedom. And I believe when done correctly, it is the ultimate achievement that us as entrepreneurs can make. You have created an amazing product or service for the marketplace. You have created jobs and opportunities for other people, and you have created financial freedom for yourself. And at the time of this recording, I myself am currently in the process of transitioning from level 2 to level 3 and learning exactly how to do that the correct way. So here's a cool little visual to help you understand that a business is simply the sum of many individual skills in action with the objective of serving a specific group of people. So when you have all these people with all these skill sets working together, that in essence is the definition of a business. In building a successful business simply comes down to learning the right skills at the right time. And then of course, putting in the work. And the beauty is anyone can build a successful business if they learn and apply these specific skills. It doesn't matter what education you're starting from, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter what your gender is, what your skin color is. If you learn these skills and you put in the work, you will be successful. So there are a lot of skills that I believe you have to learn to succeed as an entrepreneur. However, I believe there are some fundamentals that if you learn these skills first, it will give you a very solid foundation and very quickly separate you from your competition. I also think that there's a major flaw in modern education with the infinite amount of information available to us and the fact that people are just trying to learn too many skills at once when the reality is most of the skills they're learning at the time that they're learning them isn't even applicable to them. At the end of the day, you really only need to focus on the skills that yield the most results for the effort that it takes to learn them, are directly applicable to you at whatever stage you're at in your journey, and get you 80% of the way there because the remaining 20% will come with experience. So after much thought and deliberation on all the skills and things I've learned along my journey, I've narrowed it down to what I believe are the 5 most important skills that you should learn at each of these levels. And for the sake of this video not being 10 hours long, we're going to focus on level 1 and getting you from 0 to 100K as quickly as possible. And I just want to make a note here that these specific milestones on each level, these are simply here for a reference to my own journey, since I've always had the goal of getting to level 3 after crossing that $1 million revenue mark. All right, let's dive in. So it took me less than 6 months from the time I quit my job to hit my first $8,000 month in business. And I use $8,000 a month as a big milestone because that approximately equates to a $100,000 per year business. I don't share that to pat myself on the back or brag or anything, because quite frankly, I know people who have made 10 times more than that in their first 6 months. I share that to show you what's possible when you have a burning desire to make things happen, because that's what I had when I first started. So here are the 5 fundamental skills that I believe allowed me to build a 6-figure business in a relatively short amount of time. The first is a pretty obvious one. You have to learn how to do the thing that your business provides to people, otherwise known as your craft. And if you don't know what you want your craft to be yet, the first step is figuring that out. So you need to pick an industry. And the beautiful thing about business is that you can achieve financial freedom and make big money in any industry. You can also literally start from 0 in any industry and teach yourself everything you need to know to succeed in that industry. I am a perfect example of this. I started a photography and videography business and had no clue how to work a camera. Like none. I learned everything from YouTube and online courses and just the abundance of information available on the internet. The other point I want to make here is you don't have to be passionate about whatever business that you choose. I definitely wasn't passionate about photography. Did I have an interest in it? Yeah, kinda, but it definitely wasn't a passion of mine. I wouldn't pick something that you have 0 interest in progressing in, but at the same time, don't get stuck in analysis paralysis trying to figure out the perfect business, because the perfect business just doesn't exist. So if you're starting from scratch, here is what I recommend you do. Go over to my YouTube channel, which if you're watching this, you're probably already on it, and go watch as many podcast episodes that I've done with successful entrepreneurs who have succeeded in their specific industry. And at the time of recording this, I've interviewed over 50 successful entrepreneurs across 20 different industries. So go watch as many as you can. And for the ones that resonate with you, do some more research or start looking into other industries or businesses that you have some interest in. And then give yourself some time, let the information sink in, and see what makes sense for your specific situation. And then the last step is to commit. Pick one and commit. So once you've decided on the business and you're fully committed, the next thing I would do is find a group of people on the internet who are building that exact business. This is what we call your tribe. One of the most valuable things you can do as an entrepreneur is surround yourself with people who have the same goals as you. And the beautiful thing about the internet is it's created thousands, if not millions, of tribes on every business and topic imaginable. In my specific situation, I bought a course on real estate photography, and I joined a community of thousands of real estate photographers across the country. The exact blueprint that I needed to build my business was literally given to me on a silver platter, and I seized that opportunity. And even more valuable than the course itself, again, is the community, the people who I can easily reach out to who have already faced problems that I'm facing as I start my business. Shortly after I joined that course in that community, I mean, my business just started to explode. So to find your tribe, just go on Google and search how to build whatever your business is and find the top creators in that industry teaching that thing. Watch as much free content as you can, get a feel for who resonates with you the most, and then invest in what they have, whether it's a course, whether it's a community, whether it's coaching. Invest your money in yourself and start implementing everything that they tell you to do. The fastest way to shortcut your success is to pay for the knowledge and the skills from people who have already done it. The last point I want to make here on learning your craft is this: you do not need to become an expert to build a successful business. Your product, your service, whatever you're selling, it doesn't have to be perfect from the start. It just has to be good enough. And again, I'll use myself to illustrate this point. When I started my real estate photography business, I was literally using my iPhone to take the photos. And I look back on those first shoots and absolutely cringe at the product that I was providing to my clients. But here's the thing, I was still getting referrals coming in left and right. Why? Because my clients appreciated that I was incredibly easy to work with. My customer service was amazing. And I literally just went above and beyond in everything that I did for those clients to make their lives as easy as possible. As a new business owner, it is so fucking easy to win people over when your customer service is just levels above all of your competitors. Listen to me. I promise you, your clients will value how you treat them and how you make them feel over your flawless work. Now, at the same time, this isn't an excuse to be lazy and not get better at your craft, because I believe that in order to build anything great, you need to strive to be great. I just want you to know that what moves the needle the most in those early stages of your business is who you are for your clients and how they feel about you after every single interaction that they have with you. And your craft, it'll just naturally get better with repetition over time. All right, the next fundamental skill is learning how to find people to buy the thing that you're selling. These are what we call leads. A lead is simply a person who expresses interest in any way, shape, or form in buying the product or service that you're selling. That's a lead. So how do we get leads? You learn one of the core 4 methods, and this is something I've learned from Alex Hormozy, one of the smartest business minds in the game right now. And he basically breaks it down into 4 different ways that you can get customers. The first is what we call warm outreach. This is just contacting people that you already know, people that are in your network. The second is called cold outreach. This is contacting people you don't know, contacting strangers. The third is posting content on social media. And the fourth is using paid advertising. All of these methods work. They all work in getting you clients, getting you leads. But similar to what I mentioned before, I think it's best to focus on 1 or 2 of these strategies in the beginning to get to that 100K per year mark as fast as possible. I believe that focusing your time and effort on warm and cold outreach is the best move to make because they are the easiest to do. They are the lowest barrier to entry, and the only thing they require on your end is your time and your effort. So what exactly does this process look like? Your most important task when you don't have clients is to go find clients. And to get clients, you need a consistent daily effort blocked off in your calendar dedicated to lead generation. Ideally, this task is the first 2 to 4 hours of your day, every day, until you have more clients than you can handle. So for warm outreach, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your phone. You are going to call or text every single person in your contacts, and you're going to say something along the lines of, "Hey, name, hope all is well. I recently started a insert your business and wanted to see if you knew anyone who could use insert whatever you're selling." Notice how this message, the way it's worded, it's a little less salesy and pushy and annoying because you're asking them if they know anyone versus straight up asking for their business. What this does is it kills 2 birds with 1 stone because you essentially get to tap into their network and all the people who might need your services. And you're also indirectly letting them know, hey, like I'm here if you need my services. So that's for warm outreach. For cold outreach, you're going to want to find a list of potential clients by either searching for them on social media. This is better if you're selling business to consumer, B2C, or by using a lead finder software. We use a software called Lucia, if you guys want to look into that, if you're selling business to business, otherwise known as B2B. The thing about the lead finder software is they can be a little expensive, especially in the early stages of your business. So I would leverage social media as much as you can to try to find those initial clients and leads. And so regardless of which method you're taking, you're going to send a message that says something like, "Hey, name, exclamation point. My name's," insert your name. "I run a local," insert your business, "here in," insert your city. "Would love to give you a complimentary," whatever your service/product offer is, "and help," insert whatever solution to their problem your product/service provides, exclamation point. "Is this something you'd have any interest in?" Super simple. Keep it short and sweet. You don't want to send some paragraph long essay that no one cares about, no one's going to read. And if you send enough of these messages, you will get responses and you will get clients. It is one big numbers game. The more you send, the more you get. So remember that. All right, last point I want to make here. The faster that you can get over your fear of rejection, the quicker your business will grow. You simply have to realize that business is not personal. When someone says no, it has nothing to do with you. I mean, it might have something to do with you if they don't like you, but for the most part, it has nothing to do with you. They might not be interested in what you're selling, but guess what? The next person might be. So when you adopt the perspective that every no is one step closer to a yes, this game of lead generation, it almost becomes a game and it almost becomes fun. So my advice to you is just keep going. You literally only need a handful of clients to get the fire going. All right, skill number 3, learning exceptional customer service. You can get all the leads in the world, but if people don't have a good experience working with you, no one's going to come back. Customer service is what separates the mediocre from the exceptional. Here's how to be exceptional. Number 1, go above and beyond every single time. I truly believe that my superpower in business is customer service. And I think it has something to do with my natural tendencies of being a people pleaser type person and just growing up and always wanting to make people happy. That's not exactly a character trait that I like about myself all the time. It certainly helped me get a lot of clients in the beginning stages of my business. This is how I got to 6 figures very fast. The reality is, most businesses have subpar customer service. They simply go through the motions with little to no effort in making the customer experience amazing, which means all you have to do to separate yourself from your competition, even if what you're selling isn't as good as theirs, is treat every single one of your clients like royalty. So what exactly does this look like in practice? It looks like this: answering text, emails, phone calls immediately, always fitting a client into your schedule, even if it means working late, fixing all of their problems, even if it costs you discounts, costs you lost revenue, always taking the high road and letting your client save face, even when you know you're right, and just genuinely becoming interested in them and building a real relationship with them. So to sum this up in one sentence, go above and beyond for your clients in everything that you do, and you will grow exponentially fast. The next point is understanding tonality. 7% of communication is what you say. The other 93% is how you say it. The way that your words are communicated via the tonality of your voice and in your messages dictate how you are perceived by the other person and what kind of emotions it induces in them. So let's say you made a mistake and you need to fix a problem for a client. Sorry about that. We'll get this fixed. Or you could respond like this: so sorry about that, John. We'll have this fixed right away. We appreciate your business so much. I mean, which one do you think is better? It's pretty obvious which one of these is going to make the client feel more heard, feel more valued, and as a result, build more trust with them. It's also a really good idea to always use exclamations in your texts and messages, and just using encouraging and positive language in your communication. So things like, absolutely, no problem at all. We'll get on this right away. Would be happy to help. Thank you so much. These may seem like small things, but they really, really do matter. The more positive the perception and the feeling that you give your clients, the more referrals you're going to get as a result. All right, number 3, do the unscalable. So I'm a big believer in making sure your business is set up to be scalable. And when I say scalable, I just mean having systems and processes in place that are easy to replicate as your team grows. However, I believe it's the unscalable things that you do for your clients in the early stages of your business that ultimately lead to those raving fans that tell everyone about you and your business. So here's an example again from my own business. We have a client, I won't mention her name, but she is probably the sweetest lady on this earth, but she is very unorganized and just all over the place. We always request that our clients have their listings photo ready, which just means the house is cleaned up, it's tidy, it's ready to go when we show up to take the photos so that we can be the most efficient and not waste anyone's time. This client does the exact opposite of that. She literally shows up to the house with a car packed of staging items, and almost every time, without fail, we end up staging the entire house with her. It would be very easy for us to lay down the hammer and tell her, Staging a home isn't part of our job, but instead we roll up our sleeves, help her carry everything into the house, and we begin hanging pictures and curtains and everything else in the house. This specific client has referred us to dozens of other clients and just raves about us. And she's also given multiple people on her team very, very generous gifts, tips in forms of Visa gift cards and other crazy stuff just to express her gratitude. All because we chose to do the unscalable for her. Do as many of these things in the beginning stages of your business for as many clients as you can and watch how fast your business grows. All right, skill number 4, financial literacy. And I am without a doubt the most passionate about this skill, not just as a business skill, but just as a life skill. If there's one thing out of the many things that should be taught in the early years of school, it is financial literacy. But we'll have to save that topic for another day. So the first step here is getting a solid foundation in personal finance. And similar to clients and leads being completely pointless if you don't have the customer service to keep them coming back, the money that you make from your business is useless if you don't have the basic financial skills to keep that money. If your personal financial situation is a mess, how the hell do you expect to manage the finances of a business? It's kind of a silly question, but you'd be surprised how many business owners don't have a solid grasp on basic personal finance. And as a result, the health and the profitability of their business suffers. I was fortunate to always have an interest in personal finance and just learning about money at a young age. So all of this stuff comes pretty natural to me, but I realized that this isn't the case for a lot of people. So here are some practical tips on how to level up your personal finances. The first is listen to a guy by the name of Dave Ramsey. You've probably already heard of him, but if you haven't, he is probably the king of personal finance. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's the king for a reason and has arguably had the greatest impact on our society on the topic of personal finance than anyone else in history. So that'd be my first tip. Go listen to Dave Ramsey. Second tip, track your expenses. Use a budget tracking software like Mint. There's a bunch of other ones out there. It's a simple but powerful way to see where all your money is going each month so that you have an accurate picture of where you're spending and where you can improve on that spending. And 3, this is one that I really take to heart. Spend luxuriously on things that you genuinely care about and then ruthlessly cut out anything that you don't care about. A lot of people say take the approach of cut everything out, be super frugal with all your expenses. I don't really agree with that. I think that money is meant to be spent on the things that are meaningful to us, and that's different for everyone. The savings are going to come from cutting out the bullshit that you continue to spend money on that doesn't bring you any value in your life. You have to really figure out what those things are. Once you cut that stuff out, that's where, in my opinion, you're going to see the savings come from. At the end of the day, remember that personal finance is personal. Everyone has a different approach to how they do it, and that's a beautiful thing. The only objective in personal finance is making sure that you control your money and not the other way around. That's it. All right. So once you have your personal finances down, you should feel confident to now be able to manage your business's finances. And this is what's called bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is simply the process of tracking all the financial activities that go on in your business. In even simpler terms, it's recording how much money is coming into your business, your revenue, and how much money is leaving your business, your expenses. I would highly recommend learning how to manage your books yourself in the beginning stages of your business, because this will allow you to gain a clearer understanding of how well your business is actually doing and if you need to cut back in any specific areas. So if you simply search the basics of bookkeeping on YouTube, that'll give you a really solid understanding of the fundamentals, and it's pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. And then once you've been managing your books for, I'd say, 6 to 12 months, I would then look into hiring a bookkeeper to do this for you, because at the end of the day, it's not a very high value task for you to be doing as the business owner. And it's better, outsource to someone else. All right, number 3, build a reserve fund. You need to save for a rainy day. And I know this is basic financial advice you've probably heard from your parents a million times, but it could not be more important advice to follow when you're starting a business. Because the biggest traps that you can fall into is number 1, thinking that you have more money than you actually do. Expenses add up quickly, especially when you're not paying attention. And number 2, thinking that every dollar of profit should go into your personal bank account. Don't fall into these traps. I'm speaking from experience. Like life, business is up and down. You're going to have good months. You're going to have not so good months. And when times are tough, you're going to need a reserve fund to get you through that period until things are good again. Everyone is different when it comes to their business, their personal situation, their risk tolerance. But I like to say a good rule of thumb is set aside 15% of profit. Put that in a separate business savings account before any dollar of profit gets distributed to your personal bank account. And then once you have a comfortable amount saved up, 3 to 6 months of your average monthly expenses is usually a good rule of thumb. Then I'd say it's safe to pause adding to that reserve account until it starts to get depleted again. Again, this is just what I do personally. This is not financial advice. So do whatever you want. Just be smart and save for a rainy day. And lastly, you need to learn how to do everything we just talked about at a high level without completely losing your mind. This is where effective time management comes in, and it could not be more crucial to succeeding in level 1 as a solopreneur. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, and the most successful people in the world obsess over how to get the most out of those 24 hours. So number 1, apply Pareto's principle. The Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, states that roughly 80% of the results we get come from 20% of the efforts we put in. So a real world example of this, we found in our business that 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of our clients. This means that it's probably wise for us to focus the most time and energy on that 20% client base, since most of our success and our growth hinges on keeping them as clients. Here's how you can apply the 80-20 rule as a solopreneur. For skill number 1, learning your craft, focus on the most important 20% of things required to get you 80% good at your craft. As I mentioned before, 80% is good enough when you're starting. It's more than adequate to start charging for your work, and then slowly you'll work on that remaining 20% over time. For skill number 2, getting leads, track where most of your leads are coming from, and then double down on which one is yielding the most results. This is your 20%. This in turn will get you the most leads for the least amount of outreach, that 80%. Skill number 3, customer service. Track where the majority of your issues are coming from, and then focus on finding a solution for that specific issue type. And this will in turn improve your overall issue occurrence by 80%. And skill number 4, financial literacy. Figure out where you spend the majority of your expenses, your top 20%, and then just focus on decreasing those expenses to see the greatest improvement on your bottom line, your profit. And so the more you see Pareto's principle in real life, the more you realize it's pretty much applicable to everything. That last 20% truly does take the most time and effort. And this is why true mastery at something is so difficult and rare to achieve. And though I think it's worthwhile to try to become a master at some things in life, the reality is the skills required to succeed in level 1 as an entrepreneur only requires you to get to that 80% mark to gain all the momentum that you need. And then you can focus on the small incremental improvement to mastery from there. All right, number 2 is practice task batching. Task batching is a time management technique that involves grouping similar tasks together and completing them in a single focused block of time. So rather than switching between a million different tasks throughout the day, you dedicate specific time periods to work on specific tasks. This is going to reduce context switching, minimize distractions, and simply improve overall efficiency and productivity. A good example of this is what I mentioned before in blocking out dedicated time for lead generation each day. You can do the same for responding to emails and client communications. Maybe have one block in the morning, one block in the afternoon, creating and posting content on social media, bookkeeping and financial analysis. The list goes on, but the idea is the same. Have specific blocks for specific tasks. By implementing this, you'll have more mental bandwidth, feel less overwhelmed from being pulled in all different directions, and get more things done as a result. And lastly, number 3 is eliminate distractions. And this may seem like an obvious one, but but I cannot emphasize its importance enough. Distractions are the enemy to progress. They are the gatekeepers to reaching your goals. When you're trying to learn your craft, ignore everything else around you and learn your craft. When you're doing lead generation, turn everything off and focus on lead generation. When you're doing your monthly bookkeeping, get all the way through it without switching tasks in between. I think you get the point here. Just understand that every second that your attention gets hijacked is one less second that you have as a resource to focus on the things that move you forward. Compounded, focused effort is your key to building to financial freedom as quickly as possible. So I'll leave you guys with some resources. I'm a big fan of consuming one resource per skill and studying the hell out of that resource versus trying to consume all different resources at once and trying to absorb too much information. So here are the resources that I recommend you check out to effectively learn the 5 fundamental skills discussed in this video. Skill number 1, your craft, figuring out your industry, what kind of business you want to build. I mean, come on, guys, I got to plug myself here. Go check out the podcast if you haven't already. I've interviewed so many great entrepreneurs who have built amazing businesses. So that is the resource I recommend for skill number 1. Skill number 2, lead generation, $100 million leads by Alex Hormozi. Again, Alex is on top of the world right now in terms of business, entrepreneurship, education, and I have learned so much from this man. I highly recommend this read for lead generation. Number 3, customer service. This is actually my favorite book of all time, and it's not exactly a customer service book, but so many of the principles in it applies to customer service. I literally reread this book every year because I value it that much and I think it's that important. So How to Win Friends and Influence People, go check it out. Skill number 4, financial literacy. This is probably one of the most well-known books. If you haven't heard of it, you're probably living under a rock. Just kidding. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It'll change the way that you think about money. It is foundational to learning how to build wealth. Check out Rich Dad, Poor Dad if you haven't already. And skill number 5, time management. This is also one of my favorite reads. Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book is rich in information and gems and wisdom. I highly recommend checking this one out. I've also read it a couple times. Go check that one out to help you better manage your time. All right, guys, that is all that I have for today. I really hope you found this format of the show valuable. I will be doing more of these in the future. This is the beginning of a lot of presentations that I have up here in my head that I want to give to you guys. If you enjoyed it, please do me a huge favor and leave me a review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Really helps the podcast grow. If you're new to my channel, would love if you subscribed. Give the video a like, give it a comment to help push it to more people. This brand is about changing lives and helping as many people get to financial freedom as possible. My life has changed forever and I'm a better person because of it. And I believe that solving our money problems first is what allows us to unlock the capacity and the bandwidth to focus on the things that really truly matter in life, like relationships, like health and fitness, and just growing as a human being. So get your money right, get yourself financially free. Let this show be your guide. As always, guys, I appreciate you so much. I will see you in the next one. Peace.